this video, and on this video I'm going to be handing the reins over to somebody else. This is going to be the last episode in my series called Andy's Sunday School, where I've looked at some educational stuff for musicians, looking at the sort of very basic concepts that underlie music and moving through a whole bunch of different ideas that explore rhythm and harmony and melody. And I hope it's been of use to you. And of course, we now arrive at that point where we have to deal with jazz. And jazz is a music form that many people find very difficult. And there's a number of reasons for that. For my students that I have taught over the years, they have often found that jazz is like it's the yardstick by which they are going to judge themselves. It seems so much harder, and the concentration on why it's hard is usually in the harmony. And so people will talk about jazz harmony. Now, jazz has a lot of elements in it which are unique to that form, but the harmony is not one. The harmony in jazz has come from Western European classical harmony. The aspects of jazz which are unique to jazz as a genre would be the use of improvisation within composition. It would be the utilization of groove or swing, more than just having time and rhythm. And it would be the utilization of a unique voice or sound or timbre instrumentally, and how that is integrated into the overall composition. Those are the three elements I think that make jazz unique. The harmony, of course, comes from Western European music, but it doesn't come from classical music initially. Early jazz grew out of a lot of the sort of show tunes, vaudeville tunes, music that was being played in minstrel shows, Hollywood musicals later on, and the harmony that was associated with that has a certain type of sound. And the way that that harmony deals with cadence is very interesting. Now, cadence is the harmonic principle that when you start playing music, you sort of describe a tonal setting. So if we're in a major scale, you may say this is in C major, and you start your composition up. Now, your composition might not start, even though you're in C major, it might not start with the notes that spell out C major, because within the C major scale, the notes all have sort of different functions depending on the context they're in. And this is a very complex thing to understand. And so we have the harmonic theory that comes from us through European classical music to try and structure this. So when you put a piece of music on, you have the artistic choice of the composer to spell out the harmonic center, the tonal center of the key that you are in. Or you have the choice to then take those notes and stress them. And it's like storytelling. A cadence in music is like storytelling. So a story could be, you start off with a situation that we could call home, and that would be the tonic. Then you go out and the story takes you out. You go from here to here. And that's a little bit like Bilbo Baggins leaving his house. You move up to here. Right, and that is a certain harmonic process that happens when you move out. Once you're out, something happens, and it could take you to a sense of tension over here. And that sense of tension can sit there and wants to resolve, and you want to fix that and bring it back. And so what harmonic principles do in all music is just, it basically does that. And there's all different mechanisms for doing that. In Indian classical music, it's done modally. So you hear the drone all the time, and it is created, the tension is created through complex rhythmical passages, and also creating bends that bend away and create a tension within against that drone. In hymns and a lot of folk music, that is created by your tonic chord, your subdominant chord, and your dominant chord. In jazz, that's a little different. Now, for those of you who have a basic harmonic understanding, I think that there are certain profound truths that you have to understand to really start to get your head around jazz harmony. And the job of that, to explain that, really needs a proper jazz guitarist and not someone with my sort of average skills. It's got us that far, so I'm very, very pleased to be able to call in for this video DANI RABIN from the jazz rock fusion band, or whatever you want to call it in America, RABIN. And he has provided here a 20-minute lesson on jazz harmony. And for me, it is perhaps the best I have seen. It is so in depth, and it really explains some fundamental truths about jazz harmony, which I think are essential for you to understand if you then want to go and explore into that and start to understand how it works. The cadence in jazz is the famous 2-5-1. And from 2-5-1, we then derive a lot of the melodic lines that happened in jazz. And in early jazz, that is illustrated very simply with sort of triad type arpeggios moving through those. It's really like a 5-1-5-1. The beboppers extend the idea of the 2-5-1, and then John Coltrane with Dime Steps almost like reimagines the 2-5-1 in 3 dimensions. So that idea of the 2-5-1 travels all the way through jazz, from the very sort of commercial, fun beginnings of New Orleans jazz right up to the free jazz of the 1960s. Those licks and concepts are still within jazz. My job here is to try and create a little bit of context, a little bit of history, explain how that works, where it's similar, where it's different. But to really understand it, I suggest you sit back and get some notepaper and learn from DANI RABIN, who is not only an incredible jazz guitarist, but also an incredible teacher. So I would now like to pass it over to DANI, who will take it from there. Thank you, DANI.
Hello Andy Edwards fans, how you guys doing? Big thanks to Andy for letting me on this channel. I am DANI RABIN, the guitarist in Marbin. I have my own YouTube channel called Marbin Music, and we have our Patreon too. And we do a lot of deep dives into harmony, and today I'm going to teach you some harmony. We're going to take a look at how to put jazz cadences into melody, and really how melody and harmony intersect and behave together. We are going to take a look at Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to understand some harmony. So the first thing to understand about Twinkle Twinkle is its melody and bass motion, but we're going to think about it intervallically. So what does it mean to think intervallically? Well, here's Twinkle Twinkle. I have this melody happening, and I'm going to now analyze it, think about it tonally, meaning this is in C, but the way I'm going to explain that melody that's moving on top to myself is I'm going to call that C note the 1. And if you know intervals, we're going to analyze everything in the key. So here is 1, 1, 5, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. Now at the same time in the bass, I have this counterpoint motion that's going 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, 5, 1. Now when I put those two things together, I get this sound. All right. Now I can categorize the harmonic motion. I can give names to what the harmony is doing to the melody. And that's a different way of analyzing music. That first bit of melody where it's played against that C note, the 1 and the 5 are played against the 1, that's called tonic. Tonic just means that I'm home. The music feels like it's at rest, meaning the bottom layer in the music has the power to make the top layer in the music, the soprano, feel like it's settled. Listen to it. Now, the next thing that happens is that melody note, the 6th of the scale, is going to be played against the 4th of the scale. What happened to that melody? Now it felt like it went somewhere else. It went to what's called a subdominant function. A subdominant function feels like distancing. It's not really feeling like it's pulling back, it's just moving away from the tonic. There are three functions in harmony: tonic, subdominant, and dominant. Let's listen for dominant. So here's tonic, subdominant, back to tonic, back home. Subdominant went somewhere else, tonic, here's dominant. Okay, so metaphorically, think about tonic as home, subdominant is going to the store, and dominant like getting a phone call, hey, come home. That's basically the game of harmony in a nutshell. There's just a lot of ways to do it. So if I analyze the harmony of Twinkle Twinkle as is, what I get is tonic, subdominant, tonic, subdominant, tonic, dominant, tonic. Okay, that's just the first phrase in Twinkle Twinkle, but it gives you the idea. Now, here is a heavy concept, but not that heavy. It's called diatonic harmony. Now, inside the key of C major, if I stack thirds, I get 7 sounds. Here are the sounds: 1 major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 dominant, 6 minor, 7 half diminished. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in harmonic groups. Basically tell you what they do against the melody. Group 1 is called tonic, home. There are 2 chords inside that group, C major and A minor. My 1 and my relative minor, the 6 minor. So they are completely interchangeable. When I go to reharmonize a song, wherever I have C, if I have a melody, I know it's going to work with A minor without thinking. If I have D minor and F, the 2 and 4 chord, they're both subdominant. They're interchangeable as well. I can play them in place of each other without thinking. That's the point. If you know one, then the other one's going to work. You can change that bass note. It's going to be fine. Also, my 5 chord, my G7 and my B half diminished, are both dominant. They're interchangeable. So in what sense are they the same? If you're a Twinkle Twinkle connoisseur, you will notice a difference. Check it out. So that was definitely a sadder Twinkle Twinkle, right? A minor replaced all the C's, D minor replaced all the F's, B half diminished replaced the G's. But harmonically, it did the same thing. The music was at rest at the same point, it went somewhere at the same point, and it pulled at the same point. Now there's one chord inside the major scale I did not mention because it's harder to use, it has a caveat. That one is called 3 minor. 3 minor, E minor in the key of C, is called the median chord in classical music. That's just a fancy word for it, but what it really means is that it could have a dominant or a tonic function as long as you follow its very simple caveat. It cannot harmonize its avoid notes. Avoid notes are tensions that are a half step above chord tones. E Phrygian, the mode it comes from, has 2 avoid notes. It's flat 2 and it's flat 6. You can just think about it in simple terms. Don't play C's and F's in the melody if you use E minor. So this melody starts with a C. I cannot use E minor with the first melody note. Right? That sounds like some weird Satie kind of choice that you don't want Tommy Emmanuel to play at a gig. But if I take the G note, the second note in the melody, it sounds great. Check this out. C to E minor. Ooh. Or A minor to E minor. Beautiful reharmonization, right? So now I reharmonize it using nothing but diatonic harmony. Now, let's talk about cadences. We are ready. In jazz harmony, people came up with this very, very crazy concept. They said, bro, there's no such thing as subdominant. And you're like, what? I thought subdominant was a thing. They're like, well, any subdominant could be replaced by a 2-5-1. Well, let's take a look at what that looks like in Twinkle Twinkle. The second chord is an F, right? That's subdominant. That means we're going somewhere. That thing. Now, in place of that F, I can take the space it occupies and put a 2-5, meaning D minor, G7. Let's listen to what that sounds like just with counterpoint, with bass and soprano. Okay, that worked. Now let's fill it up with chords. How about... Oh, but then it goes to 4 again. Can I replace this one with another 2-5-1 there in place of the F? Yeah. How about that last 5 chord? Well, instead of just 5, I can do a 2-5 again. So now the harmony, instead of being C, F, C, F, C, G, C, is C, D minor, G7, 2-5, C, D minor, G7, C, D minor, G7, C. And that's the beginning of jazz harmony. 1, 2-5-1, 2-5-1, 2-5-1. Check this out. Oh shit, that's pretty cool. All right, so where does jazz harmony go from here? I use these cadences now to move to the 1. Well, here's something pretty cool. We said we can use E minor for that second melody note, right? Now, that chord, 3 minor, I don't have to play it like a campfire girl, I can play it up here like a serious jazz man, right? Well, that chord could be followed by a secondary dominant. A secondary dominant is a cadence to another diatonic chord. That might be a heavy concept. Let's break that down a little bit. First of all, what is a cadence? Oh, we didn't really cover that. A cadence is when I have tritone resolution. Now, the primary dominant of any key, the 5 chord, has 2 internal voicing, its 3rd and 7th, that create this tritone interval. G7 has the notes F and B. B is its 3rd. It's the leading tone in the scale, meaning the 7th of the scale. And F is its flat 7th. Together they create this tense sound. When people say this chord wants to move somewhere, that's the only thing that makes a chord want to move. Listen to it. It's that feeling. Now that happens only once in the major scale. Secondary dominance is a way you can artificially insert that movement into the music to pull to other places. You can pull to your 2 minor chord by using its 5 chord. It's called tonicizing. So I'm now playing an A7 to D minor. B7 is the secondary dominant 5 of 3, leading to E minor. C7 leads to F major, D7 is the 5 of 5 leading to G major, and E7 is the 5 of 6 leading to A minor. Okay, so A7 is the 5 of 2. Now let's use that 5 of 2 and see what we can do to Twinkle Twinkle. I'm going from my 1 chord, 3 minor, 5 of 2, 2, 5, 3 minor, 5 of 2, 2, 5, 3 minor, 5 of 2, 2, 5, 1. Now that's jazzy as fuck. Listen to the progression. I just went 1, 3, 5 of 2, 2, 5, 3, 5 of 2, 2, 5, 3, 5 of 2, 2, 5, 1. I really jazzified it. Well, in the first two notes of the melody, I can also precede that 3 chord with 5 of 3. Check this out. All right. Not all melodies behave in the way the Twinkle Twinkle or You Are My Sunshine behaves. Some melodies are more like Bach's music. When you listen to Bach playing some solo violin music, you can follow the harmony just with the melodic line, meaning you don't need the harmony to color it because the melody is kind of taking a trip through the harmony. If I listen to a song like All of Me, I'm going to notice the harmonic changes inside the melody notes. Check out the melody. Now the changes here are 1 major C, going to the 5 of 6, which is E7 in this key. From there, it doesn't resolve. It goes to the 5 of 2, A7, and then it goes to the 2 minor. So the trip is tonic, dominant, dominant, resolving to subdominant, going to the 2 chord. Now, the composer could have just chosen notes from the key of C to harmonize those chords against. He could have gone. Right? All those notes would have masked the changes, but instead he chose to arpeggiate the changes themselves in the melody, which gives the listener the ability to just hear the chords in time through the melody. That's called outlining. Check this out. Here's an arpeggio of the C chord, the 1 chord. That's in the melody. Arpeggio of the E chord, that's the 5 of 6. That's 3 notes of that A7, the 5 of 2. And then it just resolves to the minor 3rd of the 2 chord. So it's very spelled out for you. Your ear can just follow the changes from the melody itself. And a lot of bebop players play in a way that outlines the harmony as they play. For instance, I'm going to just play a solo for you over All of Me and make you hear the changes. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could follow the entire harmonic progression of the tune with my soloing. And that's sort of the goal for a lot of jazz improvisers, to be able to communicate the harmony in composition and improvisation. Please check out our YouTube and our Patreon for many more deep dives into harmony, rhythm, guitar playing in general. And thank you so much, Andy, for having me on. I'm Danny Rabin from Marbin. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Danny. So that's, I think, was very, very useful. And I hope you appreciate that. I hope you've enjoyed this series. If you've come to this video and not seen